Hey everyone, welcome to the next episode of Halftime Speech. Today we're going to be discussing the top 20 NBA rankings in this season. This is just our opinions, but you guys go however you want. We're kind of biased towards some players, but we try to be less much as possible.
All right, let's get it started. At number 20, I have Paul George, and you have Kyrie Irving. Dang.
Yep.
So this is kind of like the first time we're seeing each other's. So we don't know what our rankings are gonna be. So we're kind of reacting to each other's. But
Yeah.
dang, you got Kyrie low. You got Kyrie low.
Only because I would always put him higher because it's Kyrie. He's amazing. But it's just the games he played this season.
I mean,
So
that's I mean,
that's another reason.
I
This is
can
also not
see
all good
that.
performance wise. This is like,
But I mean, Kyrie has the
like it was
ability to take over a game at any time. I mean, he can.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm not basing it off of just their performance. I'm also gaming it and like what happened this season.
Yeah, I get it, but I got him higher. Just because he's
Okay, that makes
Kyrie.
sense.
I'm not really a Kyrie fan, to be honest. I don't really like him that much, but he's a beast. So I gotta have him higher than
Yeah, for
20.
sure.
All right, 19. I have DeMar DeRozan, and you have Zach Levine. Both Bulls players.
Exactly. That was
Both
a great team this
both
year.
both wings. Yeah, they were. I mean, they kind of sucked at the end of the season. They were losing a lot of games and didn't even stand a chance in the
It
playoffs.
was just all failing.
I mean, DeMar kind of resurged his career, and Zach kind of he Zach didn't improve too much from last year. I mean, he's still a beast, but I mean, he's kind of the same as last year. So I mean, he might be at his peak now. I'm not gonna lie. Zach
Watch him play though.
I mean, yes. I'm not trying to diss him at all. I'm just saying. I think Zach Levine's in his prime now. I don't think he's gonna turn out to be too much better. But I mean, that's not really a bad thing. He's still really good. And then um, Demar was amazing the first half of the season. Kind of cooled off. Um, so yeah, I kind of agree so far. I don't mind Zach Levine. I think there's a few players. I didn't have Zach Levine on my list, so I'm kind of interested to see who you have Zach Levine over. Oh, you also have Zach Levine over Kyrie Irving. That's kind of funky, but
And so, the games played. I would always have Kyrie probably top 10.
yeah. All right, let's go on to number 18. I got Chris Paul, and you got Anthony Davis.
Yes.
I'm kind of looking at this now. I might have Chris Paul a little low, but I also don't think he should be like too much higher. Um,
Yeah, I agree. I'd say like probably top 13. Probably maybe
yeah,
almost top 10.
I maybe should have a few spots higher, but I don't really think he should be a lot higher than what he is now. Then you have Anthony Davis. I guess kind of the games thing, and even when he did play, he was off. I mean, he really wasn't.
Yeah, for
He
definitely offensively wise. Beginning of the season, he did pretty good defensively wise.
he was fine. I mean, he was a big part of why the Lakers were losing. He really wasn't doing. I mean, he barely played, and when he did, he was kind of mid. And
I mean, yeah.
and then Chris Paul. I mean, Chris Paul is a lot better than Anthony Davis in my opinion. Wait, no, wait. Oh my God, what am I saying? I think I have Anthony Davis higher than Chris Paul on my list. I don't know why I
Oh
just said
wow.
that.
Oh wow.
I don't
I
think
don't.
I don't know what I was thinking when I made this list. I'm kind of changing my mind right now, but
Hmm. So my list is the W.
I don't know about that. I
All right,
think
bro.
I think both our lists are gonna have W's and L's like every single NBA ranking list ever made by anybody ever.
Maybe.
All right, next up I have Anthony Davis and you have Don Don. I don't know if I had Don Don on my list.
Uh,
He I mean he's kind of a diva now. He's kind of his ego's kind of getting ahead of him, to be honest, and it's just kind of not. He's kind of rubbing me the wrong way. I'm not sure I'm a fan of Donovan Mitchell anymore.
so this is a
Um,
bias, Anthony.
no, no, no. I don't think Donovan Mitchell's better than Anthony Davis, Chris Paul, DeMar DeRozan, or Paul George. I don't.
I can agree with you.
I also don't think Zach LaVine's better than Paul George. Yeah, I don't think Donovan Mitchell or Zach LaVine's better than any of the top 20 players on my list. He's good. You know, he'd probably make top 25, top 30 for sure. And then Anthony Davis. I should probably flip-flop Chris Paul and Anthony Davis on my list. But Anthony Davis, if he repeats this year, he's fallen out of my top 20. I mean, remember when he won the ring with LeBron? People had LeBron 1 and AD 2. So I mean, he's fallen. He's fallen hard. He needs to do something quick before everybody just disregards him. I got Ja Morant. You have Jason Tatum. JT's low.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I was making this list, a lot of things were going through my head. I did forget about some certain players, and they just came up late.
Yeah, I love JT. I think he's just showing off now. He's showing out for the Celtics, and Celtics are serious contenders this year, and Jason Tatum's the number one reason for that. So I think Jason Tatum should be higher on your list. And Ja Morant, I really liked Ja Morant. I don't really like him anymore. I mean, he's just this playoff series that he's in. He's getting cocky. He's getting egotistical, and then he's kind of just making comments that I don't really like on social media. He just needs to stay focused, play some basketball, and stop being like, stop being LeBron James.
Stop being LeBron James.
You know how LeBron is on Twitter. You know how he is. Ja Morant's becoming that.
You seen KD on Twitter?
It's kind of,
that guy's a menace.
KD is weird on Twitter, dude. Ja Morant. I mean, and his team was like what was his team like 22-2 or something without him during the regular season. I mean, it just proves they can win games. I mean, it's not like it was like a pretty good sample size of games too that he was out, that they just destroyed people. So I think Ja Morant's getting overrated. I still like him as a player. He's still really good. I just think he's getting overrated. All right. We both have Jimmy Butler at 15. We both agree. Jimmy Butler, he was.
We gotta play him for once.
He had his up and downs during this whole season. I think at one point he was shooting like 16% from three.
Well, he has bad games, but most of the time he's the most essential player for the Heat.
He's kind of like, in a way, don't take this like literal, but in a way he's kind of like the Draymond Green of the Heat.
Oh no, for sure. The team needs him.
He just keeps them all together. He's the glue guy. Now he's the best player on the team. Draymond's not that, but Draymond's the guy that keeps the Warriors team together. He's the glue guy, and I think Jimmy Butler is that for the Heat, along with their best player. So I think, even though he has his ups and downs and he's not always super consistent, he's still really good, and he's leading his team in the playoffs to compete with Joel Embiid and James Harden. It's not something that, I don't think almost any other team could do that. So I think Jimmy Butler should be for sure top 20. All right, I got Devin Booker, and you have Paul George. I want to let you speak on this first.
Well, looking at the list now, I want to also think about how well the Clippers did, especially without Kawhi this season. Even though they didn't make playoffs, heck of a season.
Paul George was out a majority of it too.
Right. So the impact he had, remember, like the first few games they didn't have Kawhi. When they first made that team, it was not going well. But seeing that Paul George did make a good enough impact without having another superstar as big as Kawhi, I definitely think it was a good round season, and he proved his point. He proved his worth. Maybe, thinking about it now, I'd probably put Kyrie above him. I'd probably give it, bump up the spots right here. D-Book, I can understand that. I'm pretty sure I have D-Book higher on my list. He's a great player. He's definitely better than all these players that we've listed so far.
He's not the next Kobe. I mean, I don't
know. No.
No, I don't see anybody being the next Kobe for a minute now. But Devin Booker's the next Devin Booker. I mean, he's really good. We saw him drop 70 points. I mean, that shouldn't really have a reasoning to rank him this high in this, because that was like what, 4 years ago, something like that. But I mean, we just saw that we know Devin Booker is a beast. You know, he can drop an absurd amount of points at any time, and that's what he does. He gets buckets.
Right, for sure.
His name's it's not Devin Booker. It's Devin Buckets. And then Paul George. I really like Paul George. I kind of have mixed feelings about him. I think at least Jimmy Butler and JT should be higher than him on your list, and Kyrie. But I'm not mad at your Paul George ranking at all. So I think I think number 14 is a pretty good spot for us. Next, I have Trae Young, and you have Karl Anthony Towns. I'm not sure I had Cat on my list.
Really?
Yeah, I mean...
I feel like he had a heck of a season with more help.
I'm looking at it again, and I still don't think he's on my list. I think he's borderline. He's top 25 for sure. He's the third best center in the league behind Jokic and Embiid. I think that's like a given. I think everybody knows that. But... yes, he's really good, but I don't think he's better than any of those 20 through 13 guys.
Like I said, my list was not made off of who's better performance-wise. It just matters on the season impact. And this year, Minnesota did great, and they're still doing great in the playoffs. So, they're holding it down. Karl Towns won the three-point contest this year, too. Got to give him his respect for the awards.
Let me talk about Trae Young for a sec. I had to really hold myself back to put him this low. I mean, I think this is the right spot for Trae Young. I think he's better than everybody named, and I don't think he's as good as everybody left yet. I think this is a perfect spot for Trae. Trae had the most points in the league. He had the most assists in the league this whole season. And if his team was better, then he would have a case for the MVP. And if Trae wasn't on that team, the Hawks would probably have the number 1 pick in the draft, because that's how bad the team is. John Collins is not a number 2 option. Clint Capella is not a championship center. DeAndre Hunter is a liability 50% of the time. He's not consistent. Hawks need to blow it up and get Trae another superstar, maybe 2 more superstars. They have a lot of depth. They have too much depth, too much young players, and then they're going to have another top, 15 or 16 overall pick this year. So they need to make some trades. They need to be aggressive in free agency, and they need to be aggressive in the trade market. And the Hawks can be a contender with Trae Young leading everything. I think Trae Young is amazing, and I think he's going to win an MVP one day and a finals. Call me biased if you want. I don't care.
No, it's fine. Trae Young is a great star. We've seen it since day one. That buddy can hoop the lights out and shoot from way beyond that arc. It's great to see him play. He can work around with the team.
Hey.
If a little more talent, we can see a lot more.
He gets buckets, but he's also the second best playmaker in the league behind Chris Paul.
It's not crazy to say that.
All right, James Harden, Devin Booker at 12. James Harden is slowly falling off. He's still really good, but he's not, James Harden of old. Devin Booker, we've already made our case for Devin Booker. He should be around this range. James Harden, he's a diva. He's cocky. He's egotistical, and there's been a few players on that list already. But I don't know if I think his attitude might not ever get him a ring. I think James Harden has a really realistic possibility that he could retire with no ring unless he gets it really soon in Philadelphia. And
I think that's his best option.
He has a
with the age right now.
He has a player option, and if he's not happy, he's gonna decline it and go somewhere else. So I haven't heard rumors that he's not happy. So I think he might accept his player option, but you know,
You gotta
you
think
never
about it though.
you never really know with James Harden. You know, this is his third team in 2 years. So he just decided that he doesn't like playing with Joel Embiid. He doesn't, you know, like the city of Philadelphia. That's what happened in Brooklyn. He was playing with KD and Kyrie, and then he left his championship odds because he didn't like the city of Brooklyn. So James Harden is, I think he could retire without a ring. It's a very real possibility.
I completely agree. The way he treated Houston was horrible. He was able to lead up to a super team built in Brooklyn, and they just couldn't pull it out. And I think it was mainly because like he wanted his teammates. I mean, he couldn't get that at the time. If he stayed till playoffs, they would have had a great option. They would have had a way better run. They probably would have gotten swept by the Celtics. But with James Harden and the way he is, and his age creeping up on him, as this season shows, we do not have Houston James Harden. The
Yeah.
age is catching up to him. He's 32, and you really think Philly? He's gonna want a max contract, and Philly will not give a man a max contract. If he's slowing down now, and he's gonna be 37, you don't think he's gonna slow down even more by then?
Yeah, he's slowing down. I don't think he's gonna. I really don't know what he's gonna do this offseason. It's just he's just a hard player to predict what he's gonna do and what's gonna happen. So
Right.
number 11, I have Kyrie. You have James Harden. So we just talked about James Harden, and we've already talked about Kyrie. So we don't need to spend much time at the number 11 spot. But Kyrie Irving, yes, he played a limited amount of games, but he also is still Kyrie Irving. And
Yeah.
it's not really completely his fault why he didn't play. It's kind of his beliefs. You can't really, hold that against him if he doesn't want to take the
Yeah. I'm
vaccine.
not. I'm not
I,
gonna be one of those
I,
guys. I'm a part-time player.
I mean, I don't want to get into the politics, but personally, I wouldn't jeopardize my career over that. But it's also his beliefs and his opinion. So if he wants to, sit out because he doesn't want to get a vaccine, um, you know, that's up to him. And he's still a really good player. And he was dropping
All
like
right.
40 points on an empty stomach. He's just
Right.
he's just good like that. Number 10, I have Dame, you have Ja. Ja, in my opinion, is really high on your list. We've talked about him already. I think he's getting
Yeah.
overrated. He's still a beast. He's still really good. He's taken over this season and leading
It's
his
definitely been
team
a season.
to playoff success. I think his time in the playoffs is going to be done after the series. The Warriors are going to win. But I still think he's really overrated. Damian Lillard didn't have a great season when he did play. Um, Even though he did get surgery, when he did play, he was kind of mid. But he also was playing on an, I think, what surgery did he get? Did he get his appendix removed? Is that what it was?
I believe so.
I think that's what it was. So I know he was playing with that hurting. So I know that held him back. But I kind of hope he gets traded this offseason. I don't think I know the Trailblazers want to retool around him and kind of want to blow it up and get him more help. But I don't think you have the assets to do that. I really don't. I don't think you have the assets to build a championship quality team around Damian Lillard. So I just say get rid of Dame, go full rebuild, get the top pick next year, and Fernie Simons, Nasir Little. It's gonna you got good young players already. I'd say just get rid of Dame and go full
Yeah.
rebuild.
A
But
trade speculation I've definitely thought about for a long
I
time
mean,
is getting rid of Dame.
the last time, Damian Lillard's very consistently good. He's not an up and down player. He's just always good. I don't think you should look at this season and think that he wasn't good because he was averaging less points. He was just hurting really bad and wanted to win, but he realized that he couldn't win with this trash team. So he decided to get the surgery and sit out the rest of the season, which was a good smart move on his side. So we're gonna move on to 9. I had JT. You had Steph Curry at 9.
Yeah.
Whoa, Steph at
Yeah.
9.
Let's
Oh.
just keep moving on from it. Let's keep
Okay.
moving on from it. If you want to keep talking about this debate, then we can
Steph
go
Curry.
and move on to
Steph
players.
Curry. Well, okay. We'll talk about. I'm not gonna talk too much right now. We've talked about Jason Tatum already and what we think he's about. I'm gonna hold off talking about Steph Curry until I see who you got higher than him. All right, let's go.
Some picks will probably
Luka.
surprise you.
Chris. Dude, you have Chris Paul over Stephen Curry.
I do have Chris Paul top on this list, mainly.
Are you
because
regretting
look
your
at Phoenix's-
decisions yet?
No. I still like this one, Chris Paul over Curry.
What?
Again, now performance-wise, Curry's the better player. He's the better point guard.
Yes,
But if you
I'm
look
aware.
at Phoenix in general, they weren't doing anything until they had Chris Paul. And look at the record they had this season. It's just absurd. They're coach of the year now too.
Well,
Phoenix won
look
awards,
at
and they're
what
doing
look at what
well.
Golden State was doing when Curry was out for the season. They were the worst team in the league.
I mean, yeah, but he still has backup guards even when Curry's out. That team was still doing well.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they were.
Remember last year, the past 2 years, when Curry was hurt.
I'm
They
talking
missed.
about this year.
Yeah, I know. But you're thinking, you said when the Suns didn't have Chris Paul, they sucked. When they got Chris Paul, they were really good. When
And then I
Steph Curry
also
was
thought
hurt,
this
when
season's
Steph Curry
record-
was hurt the whole season, they were the worst team in the league. And then when Steph Curry came back, now they're really good. So I think you can make case for both. You already said Steph Curry's more skilled. He's the greatest shooter of all time. I don't understand. I don't get it.
sound like some Warrior fan.
I'm not a Warrior fan. I'm a Hawks fan.
I don't know. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the Warriors may have been your favorite team, man.
It's not. It's not true. It's always been the Hawks.
All right.
It's been the
All
Hawks.
right.
Dang, Steph Curry is lower than Chris Paul.
I know a lot of people will not hate this.
I love Chris Paul. Steph Curry is way better. Kawhi and
All right.
Luka.
Pretty close.
We didn't talk too much about Luka when I had him at 8.
I didn't put Kawhi on my list because he didn't even play this season. Why do you have him so high?
It's,
He didn't even play.
it's still Kawhi. It's lower than he should be.
Yeah, but I'm not putting a player who didn't play this season in my top players of that season.
It's just the top players right now. And he's a top player right now. When he's going to come
All
back,
right.
when he's going to play, he's going to show you why he's this high. He should be higher, to be honest.
Yeah, no. If he was playing, at least give him like 10 games this season. Then yeah, I'd put him on this list. But he didn't even play. So why?
I see where you're coming from, but it's the top
rankings and not of the
It's
season.
the top. I see where you're coming from, but it's the top 20 NBA players, and he is an NBA player, and he is a top 20 NBA player.
Oh, just make him a G League player. All right, let's move on.
Luka Doncic, he's really good. He needs help, but he's kind of too ball dominant to get a second star. To be honest, I mean, I just kind of want to see. I don't really know how he's gonna work well with a second star. So I kind of want to see that in the future. But he's really good, and this is a good spot for Luka. All right, I got LeBron. You have DeMar.
Yeah.
DeMar over Steph Curry. DeMar over Luka Doncic.
Again, I'm not saying he's the better player. He had a heck of a season. It's like Josh's situation. Heck of a season. They just popped off. And it's not a season we're going to see many out of them. We don't do this. They're probably going to have a way worse season next year. It's like a Julius Randle situation. This man was in an MVP talks this year. He carried his team. When or without, they didn't have certain players. And they were pulling through, but it did suck that first round exit. But, but they're still a great team, and they played well. And DeMar DeRozan, I think, in my opinion, really proved his desire to be that guy. I think he deserves this top.
I
Six
agree.
spot.
I agree with everything you're saying, but I don't think it's top 6 worthy. I agree with everything you're saying that he should be higher. I mean, last year he's not even a top 25.
Exactly.
He might not even be top 30. So I mean, I'm having him a lot higher than what he would be last year. So I agree with what you're saying, but not to the velocity that you're trying to put it in. So We have different opinions. It's kind of been like that the whole time. But Joel Embiid and LeBron. This is a good spot for LeBron. I had him 6. You had him 5. It's a good spot for him.
This is coming from a LeBron super fan.
Yes. I'm glad you didn't put him at 1 because that would have been completely wrong. LeBron James kind of just had his consistent 25, however many points per game, 25 plus points per game season, but he was also the 11th seed in the West, so
yeah, it's just that whole team, the whole Lakers just flunked. It was rough to see.
I feel bad putting 2 Lakers in the top 20 just because of the season they had. They didn't make.
We're not basing on the team in general. We're basing it like the impact.
I know, but it's still. Like,
we also have to say injuries too. Was just those 2 alone when the games they played.
I mean, the games they played, they were still not winning. So.
All right. Let's move on. We understand.
LeBron's really good. I mean, I'm not trying to diss him. I have him at like really similar spots than you. But also Joel Embiid, kind of snubbed for MVP. I get Jokic. I'm not really mad about it. I think it could have gone either one. I don't really know why I just said snub for MVP. Kind of wasn't.
It's questioning your top 4.
All right, Joel Embiid.
Is Curry 4th?
Second best center in the league. All right. I have Jokic, and you have Kevin Durant. Okay. Jokic just won MVP. I made this list before he won it, but I don't think he really changed my mind. Back-to-back, he's really good. I can't wait for MPJ and Jamal Murray to come back. That's gonna be dead. That's gonna be a dead. The Nuggets are gonna be so deadly when they're healthy, dude.
I thought you would have put the MVP a little higher.
I also made this list before he was the MVP this year. But
I mean, yeah, okay, all right. Let's see who's top 3. Wait,
maybe he could be a little higher. Maybe he could be a little higher.
No way you have Curry or Jokic and Embiid this season.
Oh, look. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Steph Curry. Oh. He was my number 1. He was my number 1 last season, so he fell. I mean, he fell. I don't honestly, he didn't really fall. I just think other guys just rose above him.
Is KD and Giannis your top 2, or do you not even have KD out here?
No, I got KD on here. Who would be my top 2 if KD and Giannis weren't up there?
I knew Giannis would definitely be up here. I don't know, man. Sure. I'm surprised. I don't know.
Jokic,
I'm actually surprised.
So, all right, let's go. Let's go number 2. We don't really need to wait and talk about these guys. KD and Joel. Kevin Durant is really good. That's all I gotta say. He's amazing basketball. Second best player in the league, in my opinion. You have Joel Embiid over the MVP.
But again, made my list before MVP too. I didn't think Embiid was going to win it. I thought without him having Ben Simmons for a good amount of the year and him having to fill that big superstar role, mostly alone, just filling with other role players, I feel like it went really well, and they had a great season. They were playing well without another superstar by Embiid's side.
Yeah, I'm not salty at all about the MVP pick, and I wouldn't have been either. I wouldn't have been if it was Embiid or Giannis. I thought those top 3 candidates were the real top 3 candidates, and I thought every 3-1 had a very valid case on why they should be the MVP, and I wouldn't have been mad at either one, any of the 3. I think it was a very close MVP race, which we don't really see every year. So it's kind of interesting to be put on the edge of our seat, see who is actually going to be the MVP. But number 1, we both have Giannis. We both understand what he's become. I was really mad at him last year for taking that extension because I didn't think he was ever going to win in Milwaukee with Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, and then he went on and won a ring that same season. So it kind of shut me up about Giannis. So Giannis can win a championship with Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton as his second and third best player. So.
Well, now Giannis developing a shot. This guy is getting scared.
Shots slowly coming together. I mean, his percentage is going up every year. I don't think he's going to be a sharpshooter, but I mean, if he's going to have a little tiny little jump shot up in his repertoire, he's going to be deadly.
Sure.
I think by the end of his career, Giannis is gonna be the greatest power forward of all time, and is gonna be a top 10 NBA player ever.
Oh my God, definitely. He's a
It,
great player.
is it
He's
crazy?
an
Is it
all,
crazy
all,
to say
all
that he's gonna be better than Tim
outstanding.
Duncan? Is it crazy to say that?
No. Giannis is already super young. Not super young.
I mean,
For like,
he's like
he's
26,
not.
27, and he's already
Yeah,
two-time
exactly. You don't
MVP.
see no sign of progression.
Right, two-time MVP. Well, yeah, we actually see or pro. Shit, what's it called? You know, he's still going. He's getting better. Um, yeah, so it's like the opposite of regression. He's getting better every year.
Progression.
Progression. That doesn't really sound right, but whatever. Yeah. Giannis, best player in the league. Unanimous. If you don't think the same, you're wrong.
You're just wrong.
You're wrong.